Hey, everybody, this is Mary Grothy, and you're tuning in to my podcast, Destination Remarkable, the show where I chat about my journey through life from childhood to founding 3 companies to my venture launching 2 books with Forbes. Every week, I'll dive in and unveil the highs, the lows, and even the nitty-gritty details of my journey. It's raw, it's real. Let's get started. Hey, Destination Remarkable, it's Mary Grothy, and today's episode is about a life update. I'm so grateful for all of you faithful fans who have been with me since I was recording my life story on our other podcast, Revenue Radio. You've been so great being along the journey for the last couple of years, and I've really enjoyed the connection. Even though that this is a podcast, so many of you listen to these episodes and then you send me messages, and I love it, and it's good for me to know that you're actually listening and find this stuff to be fun to be engaged in. There's definitely no shortage of podcasts out there and people sharing their lives through social media and other platforms. So it really means a lot to me that so many of you continue to be engaged on this journey and that you do reach out to me. It means a lot. Otherwise, I'm just staring into a camera and talking into a microphone. So it's great to know that y'all are engaged. So let me give you a little life update. I have finally made it to the other side, a very challenging time. So 2022 is coming to a close, and I just want to share my gratitude for everything that has transpired this year. You all have heard blow by blow, just step by step, week by week of the craziness that I have endured. And I'm so thankful that I've had some friends along this journey that care to listen about it and give me the feedback to share that the things I'm sharing are helpful to them. I think that that's why I feel so comfortable opening up to all of you. And it's a risk, right? It's a risk. I'm a CEO. I run a company. I need to be cautious with some of the things that I share because I would never want to put myself or a team member or client, in a funny position because I have a tendency to overshare sometimes. And so I'm just grateful that you're embracing it and saying, you know what, we need more of this. We need more honesty around the challenges of being a wife, mom, and a CEO, of scaling a company, of surviving in today's times of divisiveness and challenge and war and the inflation and economic climate that we're in and these crazy midterm elections and then the recent drama with Taylor Swift ticket gate that happened. So, we're in troubling times. People are divisive. People are canceling each other left and right. It's so hard to be an openly faith-based woman, let alone CEO and leader. I think that there's a lot of finger pointing at Christianity and Christians in general. And look, it is what it is. I stand firm in my faith and I am okay with where I am. And I'm actually fine if people disagree with me. It hurts my feelings for a minute, but I know who loves me and I know who I serve and who I'm a child of, and I'm rooted in that. So I can be very confident in my worth and identity. So let me give you a little update here. As we close out 2022, I look back in reflection, and this year had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of surprises. At the beginning of the year, I was not very active in my own company. I had a couple of executives that were running the show, and I had gotten bored. I had looked at becoming an investor. I looked at acquiring 51% of a really awesome company and sitting with another female founder and having a really awesome time. And, that wasn't what God had for us. So it didn't work out. But then I quickly became an investor in a tech startup. I've never scaled a SaaS company from inception. I've had an opportunity to work on a revenue scaling team once they got through startup scale, but I had never done it from the ground up. And so it's been a really fun journey there, sitting as a fractional CRO and being an investor. But in the beginning of the year, I really had that wake-up call about March that we needed to make some changes in our business, and that caused friction with 2 people I love dearly, our executives, and ultimately we weren't able to align on the path forward. So I made the decision. I said, hey, I'm going to sell the company. I'll let you guys just take it and run with it. I'll go start something else, and had, a buyer at full price. And I really felt like, okay, this is what God wants for me. He's lining everything up. I'm going to sell this company. I'm going to cash out, and I'm going to go start another company, also become more of an investor. And then at the same time, I heard from Forbes books and they wanted to publish me and publish a story. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is uncanny. And so here I am just misinterpreting what I thought God had for me. I'm like, wow, this is how it will perfectly line up. I'm going to sell the company. I'm going to be, have millions in the bank. I'm going to be able to take it easy for a little bit so I can focus on writing this book and get published by Forbes Books. And then I'm going to, allow the two executives that have poured their heart and souls into this company, like they're going to be able to step into their next season and scale this thing and make their vision come true. And that'll be fun to see that happen. And then I'll go start something on the side and, with somebody that I really love working with. And I thought, cool, I've got it made. And then my husband can leave his job because he won't have to work. And his job is a little restrictive on hours and isn't very flexible. So it'd be so nice to have that flexibility and have him be more active and not have to work weekends and do more things as our son gets involved in sports and other activities. So I had this whole plan, I had this whole vision, and it looked real good right around the beginning of May. I'm like, this is awesome. Thank you, Lord, for what you have for me. This is going to be the best thing I've ever walked into. But so funny is that God always has plans that are better than what we can create. And so I had it all lined up. And my executives made that decision to resign on May 31st. And, the original buyer wanted to restructure his offer, and it ended up not working out. And so everything just sort of, all these plans just sort of fell apart. But I remember on that day when I was driving into the office, and I had this crazy peace in my heart. I could have gone into utter panic and totally freaked out and flown off, whatever the saying is. But I had this peace in my heart of, I'm just going to take this one step at a time. And I started those conversations with the people inside of my company, and I started the conversations with the clients. And I so quickly realized that the company had turned into something so different than what I had originally created, which is fine. I had other people running it. But I realized at that time that I wanted to get it back under my leadership in the way that I wanted it built. And I underestimated what that was going to take. Praise the Lord. He is so good. He is so good in his faithfulness, and he gave me the strength just enough. There were several days I felt like giving up, badly giving up, like crying and crawling into a hole and throwing in the towel. But it's amazing what has come out on the other end of this. So we're sitting here at the end of the year, close to it, and I have a new team. And I have some team members that have made it through, trucked through the mud with me. And I'm so grateful for them. They didn't have to do that. It's been tumultuous, but they said yes to sticking through it. And I'm so grateful for them and their perseverance and the tenacity to make it happen. We've experienced turnover for about 50% of our team, and the new people coming on board, they see the vision, and the caliber, the quality, the talent, the maturity, the experience. 3 of our last CROs that we brought on are former CEOs. One of them's a 6-time founder and had 3 exits. He's got 2 more that are going to happen. And we're all like, oh my gosh, can we please learn from you? This is a new season for us. The quality and the caliber of the talent. I've sat in on a couple of new client discovery meetings with some of our new team members, and I can't believe what I'm witnessing. Like, I don't even need to be in the day-to-day anymore. I'm learning from them. And what a dream for that. And then I've watched the team members that stuck through this. Oh my gosh, have they leveled up? We all joined a pavilion. We've been in CRO school and CMO school, and someone did revenue architecture, growth architecture school or something, and marketing school. And then we had enterprise go-to-market school, and so many schools, so much education. And the team has just embraced a season of leveling up. And the talent that we have here, I've never seen anything like it. So I'm sitting in a seat now where it's like, whoa, I just went through 5 months of being so deep in the weeds, having my heart broken multiple times, feeling like I let people down, making mistakes. And it's awful. It's awful to be kicked in the teeth and to experience what I did. But the value of going through that gives me the knowledge and both the peace to really enjoy what we have found ourselves in, which is this beautiful like resurrection of the business. And I'm grateful. I'm also grateful for the challenges because it's allowed me to build a stronger relationship with my husband. I used to not open up fully to him about some of the challenges in the business. I had a vision of wanting him to come and work for the company, ultimately because I wanted him to have an opportunity to retire from the job he's had for 21 years as an outside field technician for a phone company. And I really saw that weight on me of like, I wanted to create the job for him. I wanted to create the opportunity for him. And he's not as comfortable with risk and change as I am. We balance each other out really beautifully. And so I felt the responsibility and the weight of like, I need to get everything right in order for him to come on board and to do this together at my company. And that started to cause a lot of panic and anxiety in me because things are really rough. And there were days I'm like, I don't know if we're going to make it, but I couldn't really tell him because he finally got comfortable with the decision that he would retire from his work and start a new chapter in his career. I use the word retire like he's only 45, like not retire, like sail off into the sunset, just retire from an amazing 21, almost 22 years that he's had in this, at this company, in this profession. So, and embark on something new. So I learned through that a lot of the stress and anxiety and weight that I was carrying was that I was embarrassed that I wasn't creating the right company for him and that I enroll, and I wasn't sure if we would make it work. And so I finally had to address the root of that anxiety and that stress. And I just had to open up to him and tell him like, I don't know if I can create this job for you. And I don't want that to be at the expense of not having you out of that job, because my son and I were like, we need you. We want you. We don't want you working on the weekends. We don't want you working all this overtime at night. Like, we want you present and we want you here. And I felt that it was my responsibility to create that and make that happen. So during the challenges, it really helped me build better communication with my husband, which the value of that is priceless. For him to speak to me in a way that we could say like, hey, that's not on you and you don't have to carry that weight and we are going to do this together. And so there's just been so much beauty inside of our marriage that has just blossomed because I'm learning how to remove my pride and have a powerful conversation with him. So that's been great. And then also personally with my son, he's growing up so fast. I know people say that, but oh my gosh, he's growing up so fast. And it really hit me on Halloween when we were trick-or-treating. My son is an only child and he is a good-hearted boy. And he's so kind and loving and caring. And he's wicked smart. He's super talented artist. He's got a mind of an engineer, it looks like. But he's doing sports. He did well in baseball this year, and we're starting basketball now. He's definitely outside his comfort zone, but I'm really proud of him for pushing through that and trying something new and learning some new skills. But I just watched my son, this kind, caring little boy, so polite on Halloween and trick-or-treating, by himself. And of course, my husband and I and my brother-in-law were there, but I'm so proud of him. But then I realized like, I need to be more present with him. I'm losing the days buried in my laptop. I'm losing the time I'm never going to get back. And so I've been in reflection of how do I get more time with him and how do I do it? Well, thankfully in this new era with the company, I have people that are fully sitting in their roles and they're owning it. And I don't need to be there with them. I don't need to be side by side. They're fully capable. They're mature. They're experienced. I'm learning from them. And I love not being the tip of the spear anymore. I'm really loving having a team of people that not only are peers, but actually elevated in a lot of instances. There's a lot of humility in that, but there's so much relief that I don't have to have all the answers, that I don't have to be here to clean up every single mess, that I don't have to carry the weight of this business like I have. And so I'm so honored and I'm so grateful for our team that has joined. I'm so grateful for our existing team members that stepped up to the plate and said, I'm not giving up on this. Like, they have so many options. They could go be anywhere, but they chose to fight through alongside of me, and it means a lot. because I didn't have to. It was scary. It was a little messy for a minute. I'm so grateful for that. And so where's my book? This is a life update. Where's my book? Well, I'm working with a ghostwriter. His name is Alec. He's become one of my best buds. I get to record every week, and then he takes my words and turns it into the story. And then we go back and forth on editing, and it's beautiful. He is such a good writer, and we are in lockstep. So I actually am recording the last chapter of my book, which takes us to present day. And he'll get it written, and then we should start the series of final editing processes here. It's just in the next week or so. With that, we are on perfect pace for the book to be finished and off to the printers and ready by April, which means we will be able to achieve a September publishing date, because there's about a 5-month lag right now in the publishing industry. So we're thrilled. So what are you going to see? Well, in a few weeks, probably around the beginning of the year, I'm going to reveal the book cover, which I'm really excited about. And also it'll be coupled with the pre-sale launch campaign. So you'll be able to enter your information, sign up for a pre-sale copy. You'll be subscribed to a newsletter that I don't know the frequency of it. I'm not going to bombard you all, but I'm going to give you updates on the publishing and launch date process. Also, I'll have some advanced copies for people who want to give it a pre-read and share with their networks what they like about the book, give some feedback, and help me really get this into the hands of the people that need to hear it so that they can progress and move forward in their lives. I hope that I can be an inspiration to a handful of people out there. I really do feel like that's why God's having me walk down this path and publishing this book. So the first book is about my life story, as you know. And the second book, which I'll get started on next year, is going to be the Revenue Scaling Playbook. I'm very excited to be working on that also with Forbes Books, to be published potentially in April of the next year if I can get my act together and have enough time. Otherwise, it'll hit September in 2024, but I'm going to try to push for that April 2024 publish date on the Revenue Scaling Playbook. And that title may change. That's just what I keep calling it because that's what it is. That might be a subtitle. So we'll see what happens there. So as we close out the year, I just want to share my heart in gratitude and thanks. I know that we have a variety of people who listen to this. I have family members that listen to this. I have employees and clients and people in my community that listen to this. There are people who listen to this that I don't know who you are. And I haven't met you. And I'd love for you to reach out on LinkedIn and connect and send me a message. Life is not meant to be done alone. And I've done a lot of life alone in the last few years. I've been heads down, focused on being a CEO, wife, and mom, and I depleted myself of some really key and important relationships. But I'm finding the joy again in building the community. This has been an incredible platform for that, and I hope the book continues to create the same. So make sure if you haven't yet subscribed to this podcast on YouTube, if you're an audio listener, a reminder that you can actually see the filming of this in our beautiful studio. So subscribe on the Mary Growthy channel so that you can be notified every time we have a new episode come out. You can follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn under Mary Growthy. Twitter is Mary L. Growthy. So find me there on Twitter. I do tweet occasionally. I'm trying to tweet more, but social media is hard for me. I have other priorities. With that, it's been a pleasure being on this ride with you in this year, 2022. It's fun to timestamp these things because maybe we'll come back and watch this 5 years from now and be like, oh my gosh, I remember that day when I was recording and life was so different then. And, it's fun to timestamp it from time to time. But thank you all for being on the journey with me. And I'm looking forward to continuing that with you. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in connecting with me, you can find me, Mary Growthy, spelled Grothe, on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram.